Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am all about the gorgeous Season of Elegance suite from the Stampin' Up! 2024 Holiday Mini Catalog. Now, this suite is one that I have been working with a whole bunch recently, as I just sent out the kits for my virtual Season of Elegance retreat coming up at the end of the month. So I have been knee deep. Well, as I said in my post earlier today, and so I can't show the projects for my retreat because those are for registered guests' eyes only, but I have lots to share with you today. We're going to make projects that kind of take a little bit of an out of the box approach to the specifically the bundle. We're going to use the DSP and whatnot as well, but I wanted to show you some ideas for specifically how to use the stamp set in kind of unique ways. So we're going to do two kind of out of the box projects, and then a fun fold that is fairly new to me. And then I'll show you a bunch more projects at the end. So if you are joining me live or watching the replay, let me know you're here. Tell me where you're from, just so that I know I'm not talking to nobody like I often do at school. Sometimes I wonder. And while you are settling in, I'm just going to tell you about a couple are already at the 15th of the month, which means we are halfway through the month of October and halfway through our amazing join offer this month. So for those of you who have been sort of on the fence about maybe thinking about getting a discount on your Stampin' Up! Products and being part of a stamping community, the Stamping Symphony is the name of my community. If you are in Canada, I would love to have you join us. The starter kit promotion this month is fantastic. You get to choose $206 worth of product for just $135, no shipping on the starter kit. So it's a great value. And you also get to be part of an amazing community of stampers. In fact, many of the members of our Stamping Symphony community are joining me live right now. They often tune in on Tuesdays. So we would love to have you join us. If you would like more information, reach out, or you can click the link in the video description and it will take you to my link tree where you can learn more information about joining my team as well. Okay. All right. Let's see who has joined us. All right. We've got Crystal from Iowa. Hi, Mia. Oh, Mia's in North Carolina today. Hi, Jeannie K. Hi, Terry. Hi, Jean. Welcome, welcome. Yes, it is a chilly evening here as well. We're supposed to get like wet snow later on this evening. The rain has started, but I'm hoping it doesn't turn white because I'm not quite ready for that just yet. Hi, Diana from Kentucky. Hi, Louise. Hi, Cheryl. And Tyra, Nancy. Lots of people from YouTube today. Not as many watching on Facebook, but that's okay. Sometimes Facebook can be a little temperamental. That's why we go live in both places. All right, let's flip to my desk and we are going to get to some stamping. All right. Sound is cutting in and out. Oh, Peggy, don't tell me that. I don't like hearing that. Is anybody else having audio issues? If that's the case, I may have to abandon my headset, and I just charged my headset, so it should be okay, but let me know. All right, so remember how I said I've been up to my eyeballs in prepping for a retreat? Well, I don't have any of the DSP left to share with you. So you're going to have to take my word for it. The DSP is gorgeous. You're going to see it on a bunch of projects. It is actually back in stock. It was out of stock, but it has come back. I have a Peacock on order. It just didn't arrive in time for me to show you today. Other products. So I'm going to show you all of the amazing products in this suite. So this is a mega suite. It has two bundles. Let's start with the image set. So this is the Peaceful Evergreen stamp set. Beautiful sort of watercolor painted effect stamp images. We've got the row of trees. We've got 3 different sizes. And then we've got these fun swashes and swooshes and spatters. I'm going to show you how to use those on the very first card we're going to make. Love those kinds of texture stamps, and you'll see why in a few minutes. But then, of course, we have coordinating dies. So we have the open dies that cut out the stamped free images, but then lots and lots of extras. This one is to cut a textured background. When you layer it, it looks like snow. We have these sort of, I don't know, Charlie Brown Christmas trees, or the detail to layer over top. And then these little guys, I'm going to show you. I die cut all of these pieces. We get all of these cute little bow pieces. I'm actually going to show you how to put it together because it's super cute. So I just cut this from some scrap cardstock that was laying on my desk. So these are going to be the loops of our bow. So I'm just going to burnish it a little so that it curves. And then I put one glue dot on that little tab and pinch. Okay, you can see how that forms a little loop for my bow. I'm going to do the same for the second one. And obviously, the more you burnish, the easier it is to bend these into shape. So we'll pinch that one as well. There we go. Then we are going to stick these two little loops together. And these little tabs are sized perfectly for glue dots. You would think Stampin' Up! Was planning that. Pretty sure they did, but and then this is the tail, or the tail pieces, really. So again, another glue dot. You can certainly use liquid glue for this as well, but I'm impatient. I want to get on with our project, so I'm doing this really quickly with glue dots. And then this is the knot. So we're just going to stick that in the center, and there's our cute little bow. Isn't that adorable? I love that little die. So fun. All right, so that is the Peaceful Evergreens bundle. We'll set that one aside. And then the companion to that, as part of the suite, is the Peaceful Season bundle. So we have, oh, sound is not good. Okay, you know what? I am going to ditch the headset. I just need to change a couple of make a couple of adjustments here. All right. We are going to mute this mic. All right, you tell me if the sound is better. It will be, it'll sound different. Just I'm hoping that it is better quality. So I do need to turn my phone down so I don't get an echo. All right, so you let me know if you can hear me. Can we all hear me? Okay, so Louise, Julie, can you hear me? Okay. Krista says sounds good. All right. Maybe it's just a YouTube thing today. I don't know. All right. We're going to go headsetless. So I will have to talk a little bit louder, and hopefully that will be a little bit better. All right. So here we go. Peaceful Season is the second bundle in the suite. Lots and lots of sentiments that you can mix and match. Okay. So we have, you can do Happy Christmas. You can do Merry Christmas, Christmas, joy and love to you. Christmas is in the air. Wishing you and yours peace and joy, wishing you and yours all the best, wishing you and yours cheer all year. So there are so many different combinations that you can put together to customize your sentiment. Better but quieter. Okay. Yeah, I can't help that. I will try to talk louder, Peggy. It's because I don't have a mic right up to my face, so I'm relying on my laptop mic today. So I will try to be louder. I just have to be careful I don't strain my voice and am able to teach tomorrow. All right, so that is the stamp set. And then we have these awesome label dies. We also have this detailed word die. So it cuts the word Christmas, but then it also cuts a shadow or a mat to put behind it. You'll see that on a couple projects in a little bit. And then we have these awesome label dies. What I love about these labels is it cuts these little slots so that you can actually thread ribbon through and use it almost like a ribbon slide, which is kind of cool. So 2 different sizes of each shape, and all of them, you can fit all of these sentiments in at least one of those label dies. Okay. All right. Julie says it's frozen. Don't tell me that. I'm so done with our Rogers service lately. All right, so next we have the Painted Trees embossing folder, also part of the suite. This is a gorgeous folder, and you're going to see this on several projects I'm going to show you at the end. I'm not using it on anything today that I'm going to demonstrate, but I'm going to show you a bunch of projects that I've used it on. Love this folder. Okay, you're good, Louise? All right, we're in the same neighborhood, so I'm hoping we're good. Okay. I apologize for the technical issues today. We also in this suite have these amazing embellishments. So we have these little gold textured adhesive backed dots. Now these have like just a little bit of almost like glitter embedded in them. So they look kind of almost like they're illuminated when you put them on a project. You'll see them on one that we're going to make in a little bit. And then we also have this gorgeous satin ribbon. This is one of my favorite ribbons in the mini. Super, super cute. Love it. All right. So let's get to our projects. Again, remind me to talk loud if you can't hear me. I will do the best I can. Let me see if I can increase my mic volume. Let's just go to settings and go audio. Yeah, it's looking okay, actually. It says, yeah, it's automatically adjusting mic volume. So me talking louder is not going to help. Okay.
All right, so the first project we are going to make is this one. Now, this looks nothing like a Christmas card. It is. I did it as a Christmas card, wishing you and yours a season of wonder and happiness. But I wanted to show you some ideas for how to use those fun sort of texture stamps that come in the stamp set that nobody seems to know what to do with. So we're going to get to it. So I have here just a, what is this, 2.5 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock. Okay. All right, Terry, you turned up your volume. Okay, awesome. Yeah, maybe Peggy, try turning up your volume a little bit. See if that helps. Okay, so I have all of my sort of texture stamps here. So there are 2 of them in the set. We have this one that's sort of like, to me, this looks like a sleeping cat. I don't know. We have a whole bunch of cats around this house. So, and then this one just looks like a little bit of a swoosh. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with, I'm using, I should show you first, 3 shades of sort of teal. So we've got Pool Party, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. These colors work really, really well together. And I'm going to show you another project, another sample that I did when I'm done this one, remind me, where I used a different color palette. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with Pool Party. And I'm going to start with the larger swooshy stamp here. And we're going to ink and stamp off and then stamp on our cardstock. Ink, stamp off, stamp on our cardstock. So I'm being really random here. I'm not worrying about getting things all lined up or being matchy-matchy. I'm just layering down this swooshy pattern. I don't know what else to call it. It's swooshy. It looks like a cat. Maybe I'll call it the cat pattern, but then people will wonder what the heck I'm talking about. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm not going to stamp off. Okay, I'm going to do some full strength. And look at how cool that background is already. Is that not an interesting background? All right, so there is that. So that's all I'm going to do with the Pool Party. I may come back with it again afterwards, but for now, we're going to shift to the Lost Lagoon. I'm going to get rid of most of that Pool Party ink, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to ink, stamp off, stamp on my cardstock. Ink, stamp off, stamp on. Because I'm just trying to fill in some of the white space that is still showing. Like this is really just, this is like kids having fun with finger paint. Okay. Then I'm going to actually swap stamps, and I'm going to bring in this sort of, I don't know, hill-like image. And I'm going to add a couple of these. Just like that. Okay. Next, I'm going to come in with my Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to bring in the tree line stamp. Okay. So I'm going to ink this one up. Now I did just re-ink my Pretty Peacock, so this should be good and juicy. And I'm going to stamp it a couple of times across the front of my card or my panel. And then I'm going to do it again stamped off just to add a little bit of depth to my trees. Okay, now we need some ground for them to be sitting on. So I'm just going to come in with my Pretty Peacock, and then I'm going to go back to my Lost Lagoon and fill in some more of that. So I'm going to stamp this off and add my hills. Okay, so you can keep going with this if you want to add more color. I think I'm going to go back with my Pool Party, add a little bit more. Stamp this off so I can get as much of the dark color off as I can before I put it in my light ink pad. And we're just going to fill in, again, some of those gaps. And there we go. It's that easy. I'll hold that up so you can see it. So there's our little landscape. I feel like I need one more little hill there. I'm going to come back with a Pretty Peacock, I think. Just because my trees kind of look like they're floating there. So we're going to ground those with another hill. There we go. Done and done. Wasn't that easy? So easy. So Louise, whenever I have stamps like this where I'm not sure what to do with them, I just get some ink and I just start playing. I just start layering color. And you'd be amazed at what you can come up with when you just play. All right. So now we're just going to finish building this card. I have a piece of silver foil. This is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. So we're going to layer our focal image on there. As soon as I find my seal, it's right in front of me. And I'm going to go ahead and layer that just like that. Oh, that's not that straight. And then that is going to get layered on a snowy background. So this is the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. It's just a piece of 4 by 5.25 inch white cardstock that I've embossed using that folder. And then it is going to get adhered just like that. Okay. And it does. It looks like an Impressionist painting. That's exactly kind of what I was going for, Louise. I love Impressionist art, which I think is why this sort of idea came to me, and just playing with brush strokes, right? And layers of color. So we're going to go ahead and glue that onto there. And then that is going to get adhered to a pretty Peacock card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. Oh, the corner of my card base is a little munched. See if we can flatten that out a little bit. We'll glue it on this side so that the front is nice and pristine. We'll add a little bit of glue and pop this on. And I love that the dark blue really makes the trees pop when you put it against the dark background like that. Okay. And then our last little bit is to stamp our sentiment. So I'm using Wishing You and Yours. I'm going to stamp it in pretty Peacock ink on one of these little banners cut with the Stylish Shapes dies. So we're just going to center this on there, hope that we get it straight. And then that is going to get adhered to our card. But first, we're going to tie a little bow. I have just enough for a bow here. It's the tail end of a roll of ribbon. So this is the silver and white sheer, white and silver sheer ribbon, silver and white. It does say silver and white. So I'm going to tie a little bow. What I love about this ribbon is it ties really nice, tight knots, which is what I want, because I'm going to tuck the knot of this bow in behind my little banner. And I want that knot to be nice and tight so it's not bulky behind my banner. So pull that nice and tight. We'll trim our tail. I might have enough for one more bow on that little bit of scrap. And then we're going to take and add a glue dot to the bottom corner of our banner here. And then I'm just going to press it onto my bow. So it's going to adhere like that. Okay. Then that is going to get adhered to our card with a couple of dimensionals. So we'll do 1 and 2. I'm going to need more dimensionals. That is not going to get me through today's cards. That little bit I have left, we'll pop that on just like that. Isn't that pretty? Super, super simple. Now on the inside, I'm not going to take the time to do it, but I just added a basic white panel where I stamped the trees again and then another sentiment. So Wishing You and Yours, a season of wonder and happiness. Okay, so there you go. Get those swooshy stamps out and start playing. Now, oh, I said I would show you another one. So here is another color combo I did in blues. So here you go. Same basic layout, but different palette. So here I used Boho Blue, Misty Moonlight, and Night of Navy. I think I almost like the blue better. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I think I like this one. I like that this one has the copper, and it totally works for a masculine birthday card, right? So there you go. 2 cards, same technique. Let me clean up my mess here. I do need to grab my chamois. I can't keep talking when I get up now because I don't have my headset on. Because I need to clean this. We're going to use this on another project. Okay. Here we go. Card number 2. This one, again, non-traditional color palette for the holidays. And so I went with Blackberry Bliss and Basic Beige with a Mossy Meadow card base. So, but I wanted to show you how I got this sort of painted look on my trees. Okay. So we're gonna work on the trees first because they're gonna take a minute to dry once we're done. So I have 3 blanks that I've cut out. Let me just swap basket of supplies here. I have my stamps. And I have my Mossy Meadow ink pad. So we're going to start by just stamping each tree image in Mossy Meadow ink. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't accidentally drop something on it. So we're going to ink up the large tree. And you see me do this trick with photopolymer. It does work as well with red rubber. It's just a little bit harder to line them up. I may not get this perfectly centered, but that's okay. For this technique, it's not going to matter. Oh, that was actually not bad. Shocking that I got that right. All right, then we're going to do the medium tree. Same deal. We'll line this up. Now that I've gotten that one right, I won't get this one right. You watch. One of them will be really off. But again, it's not going to matter. Oh, that one's not bad either. We're 2 for 2. Can we be 3 for 3? I don't know if I'm that lucky. Here we go. Pop this one on and press. Oh, not too shabby, if I do say so myself. All right. So I have stamped each of the trees in Mossy Meadow ink. Okay. All right. Now, this is where I'm going to intentionally be less than perfect. I'm going to use the same stamps. I'm just going to stamp off a little bit. I'm going to over stamp with Pretty Peacock. Okay. It's going to be messy. That's okay. It's supposed to be. I am not even trying to line these up. Okay. It's impossible to line them up perfectly because they are not photopolymer stamps. Okay. And then last one, we'll stamp the big one. Oh, that was almost perfect. Wow. That was impressive. I couldn't do that again if I tried. All right. Then I'm going to bring in my blender pen. So this works best with the blender pen. If you want to use an aqua painter, I would strongly encourage you to use watercolor paper. This is just plain old basic beige cardstock. Okay. But if you are going to use a water painter, do not just use regular cardstock. Use watercolor paper. You will get a different look. Okay. You won't get quite as much detail in your stamped image. So now I'm going to come in with my blender pen and I'm just going to blend out my image. So I'm just kind of running right over top of that stamped image. I was so perfect with that Pretty Peacock. You can barely see the Mossy Meadow underneath there, but that's okay. We will add some more Mossy Meadow in a minute. So I'm just taking and basically blurring that stamped image. I'm kind of working in a little bit circular motion. You cannot blend too much because, again, this is not watercolor paper. This is just regular old basic beige cardstock. And if I blend too much, I'm going to pill my cardstock. Okay. I don't want my cardstock to break down. So I'm not going to work it too much. I'm just going to blur these. Again, almost like an impressionist painting. So just really soft. And as it dries, it's going to blur even more. You can see up here where it's blurred more as that moisture kind of takes hold. So there's one. We'll do the same thing with this one. This one, you're going to see the variation in color a little bit better because the image was not quite as perfectly layered. It's actually kind of preferable that it's not perfectly layered. So we get that sort of two-tone effect. If you have a Stamparatus, you could use a Stamparatus or some kind of stamp positioning tool, but honestly, it looks better when it's not perfect. So just eyeball it. Take a risk. Eyeball. Just go for it. And again, how did I figure this out? I just played. My best ideas come when I have time to just let myself play with products. I don't always have the time for that right now. I'm very much looking forward to retiring and having much more time to just play. Most of my time now is spent designing with a purpose or prepping for upcoming events. But once I retire, I'll have all the time in the world. June 30th cannot come soon enough. All right, there we go. Okay, so we've kind of blurred our stamped images. And you see how the blurring continues? Look at how that one has continued to blur as it has dried. Okay, we're going to leave these for a minute to dry, and we're going to work on the rest of the card. Okay. Yes, it is a nice fresh blender pen. Actually, I just replaced my original blender pens. I've had those blender pens since I started stamping, what, 15, well, no, it's more than that, probably 18 years ago. They finally dried out. So I bought some new ones, treated myself, and boy, what a difference it makes when you have a juicy blender pen. Okay, so now we are going to just put together the rest of this card. So I have my DSP. So this is the Basic Beige. It's got sort of basic beige and crumb cake in it, and then the gold foiling. It's beautiful. And then the back side is just sort of brush strokes, but love that gold foiling. And we are going to layer that on a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. Now I can do that because we'll add our ribbon after. We're going to do it in a slightly different order than I did on my sample, but that's okay. So we're just going to add that. And then we have to decide how much gold we want to see. I think I'm going to flip this around. I like all of this gold and I want to see more of it. So I'm going to turn it this way so that when we add our trees, they don't cover all that pretty gold. Okay, so now this one is almost dry. We are going to come back. I'm going to clean this because I don't want any more pretty Peacock. I want just Mossy Meadow. I'm going to clean my stamp, get rid of all that pretty Peacock, and come back with the Mossy Meadow. Yeah, Deb, it's time for some new ones. You will be amazed at how much better new ones work. All right, so now I'm going to just stamp right over top. Again, I'm not trying to be perfect. Actually, you know what? I am going to do it this way just so I make sure I get it fairly centered on my die cut here. You'll notice that my die cut is curled a little bit. That's just from the moisture in the blender pen. Totally normal. There we go. By adding that extra little layer of Mossy Meadow, we get a little bit of the detail back. So we have a little bit more detail in the branches. Okay, so let me do the medium one. Clean that. Ink this up. And again, we'll layer that. Okay, and then the last one, our little tree. Again, get rid of our pretty Peacock. It's not perfectly clean, but it'll do. Add our Mossy Meadow. And layer that again. Okay, so that gives us just a little bit more sort of detail in our stamped images that we had blurred out with the blender pen. Okay, but a really cool way to get sort of a soft, almost watercolor effect with these stamp images. Now it's just a matter of gluing them onto the front of our card. So let's add a little bit of liquid glue here. Glue our big guy on. A little bit to the left. That works. And then the medium one, that's going to be to the right. And then our little guy is going to go in the middle. You'll notice I'm gluing all of my trees flat. So I'm going to pop up my label rather than my trees. All right. So now we're going to come in with some of this fabulous Blackberry Bliss and Gold ribbon. I have already stamped and heat embossed my label. Use the same sentiments because I love it. Wishing you and yours, you can wish you and yours just about anything. So it's a pretty generic greeting. So I'm just taking and threading my ribbon through my label. Okay, so that's going to run across the front of our card. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. For those of us that don't want to waste ribbon hidden behind that label, we're going to do it this way. So I put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my label. I'm going to thread my ribbon from the front, just like that. We want to make sure it's centered. There we go. I'm going to trim off, I don't know, enough to wrap around the back side of our card. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So it gives the look of ribbon having been threaded all the way through. But between you and me and whoever else happens to watch this video, we didn't waste a bunch of ribbon. Now, okay, so we're going to go ahead and pop that up. A couple of dimensionals will do the trick. Maybe one in the middle just to make sure that doesn't get squished. And then that is going to run along the bottom of our trees. I don't want to cover too much of the trees. So right about there looks good. And then we'll wrap the tails around the back side and stick them down. Come on, going the wrong direction. There we go. And then that is going to get adhered to, have I tried embossing the trees? I have actually, somewhere I have a sample, Terry. I will show you at the end. All right, so Mossy Meadow cardstock, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 for our card base. So again, we will fold that in half. But Terry, I think you're right. I think the added texture with this painting technique, this watercolor technique, would look really cool. You got me thinking that I need to do some more playing with this. This bundle, even though I've done a ton with it the last couple of weeks. Oops, that's a little high. Let's put that a bit lower. There we go. All right, and then our last touch is some of those fun embellishments. Sorry, I had to run away and grab them because I didn't put them in my bag. You're probably thinking, oh, where'd she go? All right, so these come in 3 sizes. So I'm using these as the star at the top of the tree. So I'm putting one here. That's the large one. We're going to put a medium on the medium one and a small one on the bitty tree. Come here, you. Just like that. There's your finished card. Okay. I love this color palette, the gold or the purple for Christmas. I just really, really love. All right. Now on the inside of this one, I just added, again, that row of trees and a little strip of scrap DSP. And then again, a season of wonder and happiness. So nice, generic, non-denominational Christmas card, non-sacred Christmas card for those who perhaps don't celebrate Christmas, but you want to wish a happy holidays too. All right, last one is a fun fold. Let me make some space. Once again, I do need to clean this guy because we're going to use it. Oh, I need to clean my chamois. My chamois is kind of grungy. All right. So this fun fold, it's like a little box card, but I like the sort of pyramid shape because it mimics the shape of a Christmas tree. Now, this folds flat to mail. It folds down to 4 1/4 by 5. Okay, so it'll fit into a regular envelope. You will probably need extra postage though, because it is quite thick. Okay. Mia, the stamped images do not line up with the embossing folder. They do not, no. The embossing folder images are quite a bit larger than the stamped images. Okay. My big tree is mounted on a block E. Okay. All right. So let me show you how to put this one together. It's really, really simple. We're simply making a series of boxes and then gluing them together. Now, to start, we have 4 different size pieces of Old Olive cardstock. I put all of the dimensions in the video description. Okay. So this first one is 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. This one is 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. The next one is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then the smallest one is 2 1/2 by 4 1/2. Okay. And all of the scoring is done with the long side at the top, and you're scoring at, I should do it this way, 1/2, 1 1/2, 2 1/2, and 3 1/2 on each piece. Okay. So then we are just going to fold inwards along all of our score lines. So I'm just going to burnish all of these. Okay. I am going to use my bone folder because I do want this thing to actually fold up. If you don't use your bone folder, you'll have a great freestanding card, but you'll have a hard time squishing it flat to mail. I was thinking these would make really cute place cards for a holiday dinner. You could put each person's name on the label. Wouldn't that be cute? Maybe it's just me who kind of goes all out for holiday dinners. I don't know. I like doing special things like that. All right, so I've taken and done my burnishing. Now I'm going to peel off. I've already applied a little bit of tear and tape just to save time. So I'm just going to lay my flap. I put the tape on the 1/2 inch panel and then just fold that over. Okay, and that makes a little box. Easy peasy, right? Okay. Deb, you and I, great minds thinking alike. Yes, it absolutely would be a cute, cute place card holder. All right, so I'm not doing these in any particular order. I'm just going to quickly put these little boxes together, and then I'll show you how to assemble it. So again, you do want to make sure you burnish all of your folds really well. And then we'll peel off our backing and fold it over. That was our small guy. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4. Burnish, burnish, and burnish some more. Oh, I made a rhyme. Should write a song. Okay, once again, we're going to get rid of our backing. And fold that over. Okay, that's box number 3. And the last one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, Give it a really good crease. There we go. And get rid of our backing. And there we go. All right, so we have our 4 boxes. So you can see how these are going to come together. Now, one little suggestion, I did not think about that when I was putting this together, but think about where your seam is going to be. And you kind of want that seam to be towards the bottom on each one so that you don't see it. Okay, so I'm just going to line these up so that my seam is towards the bottom. That's just an aesthetic thing. It's not really necessary, but you know. Okay. All right. Now, these are all going to get adhered to a piece of old olive cardstock that is 2.5 by 4. Okay. So if I were to lay these on here, you're going to see they're all going to line up quite nicely on my little piece of cardstock. So I'm going to start by adhering this first box. Okay. I'm going to squish it flat as I'm doing this, because again, I want to make sure everything is going to adhere flat to my, or I fold flat so I can get it into the envelope. Now, when I'm gluing this, I like to just make sure I should have 3 squares, 3.5 squares on either side of my base here to make sure that this piece is centered. Okay, so I'm going to put my adhesive just on my base piece. Okay, so I have my piece. Let me make sure I've got my seams facing the right way. And I'm going to line this fold with the bottom of my base piece. So let's make sure that's stuck down, and it's going to be 3.5 squares on either side, just like that. It's really important to get this first one on correctly and centered. Okay, and you can see how that is going to stand up like that. Okay, that's our first piece. Once we have this one on, the rest are pretty quick and easy to glue. So we are going to line these up. Now this time I'm going to put glue both on the base piece and on that first piece that I put down. So I'm going to put it there and there. Again, I'm going to pay attention to my seams and make sure that my pieces line up. So I want to really snug these boxes up. And what I like to do is kind of stick my fingers on the box and just make sure that they are going to adhere nice and snug. You want them to be right flush against each other. Okay. Next one is going to go on here. Again, put the glue on the base piece and on the piece we just adhered. Pay attention to our seams. Get that lined up and then pinch them and hold them for just a second so that glue can set up. Okay, and then last one, this guy's going to go on the top. So again, a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here. Where's my seam? It's where I want it to be. Perfect. And this piece actually aligns perfectly with the edges of my base piece. Do you see that? There's a little bit at the top. That's okay. Just make sure that's all nice and snug. Okay, we're going to let that set for a minute. And we are going to work on our tree and our back panel. So this is where we can sign our message. So here we are going to stamp our large tree in Mossy Meadow ink. I'm just going to ink this guy up, and we're just going to stamp a little bit of the tree because we do need some room to write a message. Oh, I probably should have done that in Old Olive. Oh, well, I don't have Old Olive over here. That's okay. And then we're going to add our thinking of you sentiment in Cherry Cobbler. So let's add thinking of you and hopefully straight. I love this. Thinking of you with warm feelings and a wish for all the merriest. What a great sentiment. Actually, while I have this out, why don't we stamp our sentiment for the front as well. So I'll set this aside for a sec. This little strip is 3/4 by 3 inches, and I'm stamping a season of wonder and happiness. And I'm going to stamp this a little bit towards the right because I want room for my bow. There we go. I'm stamping this in Cherry Cobbler ink. I don't know if I mentioned that, but there you go. Now I have. Let me grab my Old Olive because I want Old Olive for my tree at the front. All right, so let's get these out of the way. Our tree at the front, we are going to do the same kind of technique that we did, but we're not going to do all the layering of ink. We're just going to stamp once in Old Olive and then blend a little bit. So look at the mess. I've got glue everywhere. I've got ink everywhere. What a disaster I am. All right. So let's ink up our tree. This is Old Olive ink this time. And again, I've got Basic Beige cardstock. I've cut my blank for my tree. And then I need my large block again. We're going to stamp that just like that. Okay. And then we're not going to layer other colors. We're just going to go ahead and blend that out. So I'm going to pull in my blender pen once again. Ooh, that's a little brown. There we go. And we're just going to blend this out. And again, as I lay down the liquid, it's going to blur the stamped image. It's not going to do a whole lot initially, but as that moisture soaks into the cardstock, it blurs it. So this technique works with just one shade of ink or with multiple, depending on the look you're going for. So we'll just fill this in all the way. And then we're going to let it dry while we decorate the front of our card. Okay, so there is my tree. We're going to let that do its thing. So let's go ahead and glue our sentiment panel or our greeting panel on the back. So just a little bit of glue. And we'll pop this on. This is the true test. We want to make sure that this thing's going to fold, right? So we're going to adjust this, stick her on just like that. Pop it back up so it can glue or dry flat. There we go. Burnish that a little. There we go. All right. Now we're going to decorate with some little strips of DSP. This is a great way to use up little scraps. I am missing one. There it is. Okay. So again, I've got all of the measurements for these in the video description. I'm not going to measure them all because I honestly do not remember what all these measurements are. So let's just pop these on. Obviously, the largest goes on the largest, and we work our way up. There we go. Next. And the last one. Okay, so there is our decorated box. Now we are going to layer our tree. So I've got a gold, just a blank die cut gold tree, and we're going to layer that as a little bit of a shadow behind our watercolor tree. So I'm going to add some dimensionals. Oh, I'm going to have to use just the edges here because that's all I got left. But you know what? It's going to be just enough, I think. So we're going to layer that. We're going to offset it just a bit. I want to see some of that gold peeking behind. Okay. And then I was originally going to put this right on, but I felt like it didn't stand out enough. So this is just a 2-inch circle that I punched from some of the DSP. So we're going to adhere that to the top of our box here, just to make our tree stand out a little bit. Just like that. And then our tree, we're going to glue flat. Okay, we've already popped up the watercolored tree, but the gold, we're going to glue flat onto our box here. Our card. It looks like a box, but it is a card. And again, just make sure that that is nicely secured. Okay, and then our last touch is to add our sentiment. So this is going to overlap the tree, but extend on the other side. So we're going to add a couple of bits of dimensional, because that's all I got, to the end that is going to hang on to the card. And then just a little bit of seal where it's going to overlap our tree. So we'll get rid of those backings and pop this on right about there. And then our last touch is to tie. I had another little scrap of red ribbon. So we'll tie a little bow with a bit of this ribbon. Now this ribbon, it's very slippery. Okay. So you want to make sure you pull your knot really nice and tight, because as you are sort of adjusting the loops, you may find that you're not slips, okay? It's quite sheer. So we'll trim our tails off, and then that is going to get adhered with the glue dot, just like that. And there we go. Isn't that cute? Oh, almost forgot our star. I did die cut a star. There it is. The die, there is a star die included in the die set, which is rather convenient. I'm going to put a little mini glue dot on the back of my star, and then it is going to get adhered right at the top of my tree, just like, oh, hang on, not line flat. We want it to lie flat. There we go. Done. You like that one? I thought that would be a really cute table decoration for the holidays, or a cute card to stand on the mantle. All right, so let's bring them all back. And then I have a whole bunch more to show you because, well, I've been really busy with this stamp set or this bundle. So here again is that same technique as the one I showed you, but in the blues. I really like the blues. I think that might be my favorite. And then here is another technique. This is a double embossing technique. So you can see I've used the Snowflake Sky embossing folder and the painted trees. So the order for this is to do the paint or the Snowflake Sky first, okay? And then same panel of cardstock, run it through with the painted trees. Okay, and what you'll get is that beautiful falling snow background and your gorgeous trees. Now I've done a bunch of ink blending to bring out the trees, make them stand out a little bit more. I started with a piece of Pool Party cardstock when I started embossing. Okay, so it's Pool Party cardstock. I did a little bit of blending with Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock, and then I added some Mossy Meadow on my trees. Okay, so there is that one. Here's another one. This one I actually, it's hard to see because of the texture in the DSP, but you can maybe see I embossed the DSP with the Painted Trees embossing folder. And then I did the little tree line with that same technique that I used on the second card. A little bit of ink blending there. Here's another one with the embossing folder. This one I added some ink and then did a little bit of gold embossing. And then here's another one, same idea, but without the double embossing technique. So this is just the Painted Trees embossing folder, and then a little bit of inking with Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. Here's another one. I embossed the DSP with the Forever Plaid embossing folder. I really like the look of that. And then a couple of swaps. I love this swap card. This is one I received earlier in the, well, I guess in August, purpose swap that I was in, and I absolutely love this neutral color palette. And then one more. This one, again, love the Pretty Peacock, but then they've also added a little bit of white crafting to the trees to mimic snow. So there you go. So many ideas. And that's not even half of it. I've got a whole whack more ideas that we're going to be doing for my retreat. But this suite is a must-have one, if you ask me, because there are so many things you can do with it. It's not just Christmas. So many possibilities. So let me get back to here. Here we are. Here I am. I apologize for the audio issues earlier. Again, I hope you all were able to hear me. I was trying to talk as loudly as I could. And I hope you enjoyed these projects. Check out this suite if you haven't already. It is a fantastic one. And right now, knock on wood, all of the products in the suite are available. So grab it while you can. All right. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. Have a great week. And I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.